I lived in a small house with faded paint. My family had very little money. But I had a big dream. I dreamed of being a painter. I saw beauty everywhere. In the sunrise, in the flowers pushing through cracked sidewalks. I loved to draw. I would use anything I could find. Scraps of paper, old newspapers, even the backs of used envelopes became my canvas. Each scribble, each line, held my dreams and aspirations. The world melted away when I had a pencil in my hand. I was lost in my own world, a world filled with color and imagination. I knew my family couldn't afford art supplies. Fancy paints and brushes were only a wish away. But I didn't let that stop me. I used berries to make colors. I used charcoal from the fireplace to create shadows. My imagination was my most valuable tool.
Lily lived in a small house with faded paint. Her family had very little money. But Lily had a big dream. She dreamed of being a painter. Lily saw beauty everywhere. She saw it in the sunrise. She saw it in the flowers pushing through cracked sidewalks. Lily loved to draw. She would use anything she could find. Scraps of paper, old newspapers, even the backs of used envelopes became her canvas. Each scribble, each line, held her dreams and aspirations. The world melted away when Lily had a pencil in her hand. She was lost in her own world, a world filled with color and imagination. Lily knew her family couldn't afford art supplies. Fancy paints and brushes were only a wish away. But Lily didn't let that stop her. She used berries to make colors. She used charcoal from the fireplace to create shadows. Her imagination was her most valuable tool.
My art was different. It wasn't like the paintings in books. My art was raw, it was real, it was filled with the spirit of my world. I used old newspapers to make collages. I tore them into shapes, into figures, into stories. On these pages, faded news stories found new life. The people in my life became subjects of my art. My mother humming while she mended clothes. My brother playing stickball in the street. I captured their essence. I showed their strength, their love, their resilience.
Lily's art was different. It wasn't like the paintings in books. Her art was raw. It was real. It was filled with the spirit of her world. Lily used old newspapers to make collages. She tore them into shapes, into figures, into stories. On these pages, faded news stories found new life. The people in Lily's life became subjects of her art. Her mother, humming while she mended clothes. Her brother playing stickball in the street. Lily captured their essence. She showed their strength, their love, their resilience. One day, Lily was drawing in the park. She used a broken twig dipped in a mixture of crushed berries and water. Her tongue poked out the corner of her mouth as she concentrated. A man stopped to watch her. He was tall and thin, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. The man's name was Mr. Jasper. He was a traveling art teacher, always searching for new talent. Mr. Jasper saw something special in Lily's work. He saw her passion. He saw her potential. Mr. Jasper sat down beside Lily. He didn't startle her, he just watched her work. He admired her focus. He noticed how she used her limited materials to their fullest potential. When Lily finally looked up, she was surprised. She had been so engrossed in her work that she hadn't noticed him.
That's quite a drawing. You have a real gift, you know.
Lily blushed, unsure how to respond. No one had ever called her talented before. Her family supported her hobby, but they didn't understand it. Mr. Jasper, however, seemed to understand. He saw something in her art, something special.
My name is Mr. Jasper. I teach art, and I think you would thrive in my class.
He told her about the art school where he taught. It was a prestigious school, filled with students from wealthy families. Lily listened, her heart both pounding with hope and clenching with fear. Mr. Jasper saw the conflict in her eyes. He knew that Lily's family couldn't afford the tuition.
I want to offer you a scholarship, a chance to study art, to hone your talent, to blossom.
A scholarship? To art school? It seemed like an impossible dream, but my family, we can't afford...
Don't you worry about that. This scholarship will cover everything. All you have to do is focus on your art.
Mr. Jasper saw the spark in her eyes, the spark he knew existed in all true artists.
We're worried about her leaving our small town. We're worried about her future.
I will look after her. Lily has a rare gift. I believe in her.
And so, with a heart full of hope and a suitcase full of dreams, Lily left her small town. She was headed for a future she had never dared to imagine. Lily knew that this was her chance to make something of herself, her chance to become an artist. The art school was like nothing Lily had ever seen before. It was a grand old building, filled with light and the smell of paint. Students from wealthy families strolled the halls, their arms laden with expensive art supplies. Lily felt small, out of place.
The other students had fancy easels and palettes bursting with color. They used words I didn't understand, words like chiaroscuro and impasto.
Lily felt a familiar fear creeping in, the fear of not belonging, the fear of not being good enough. Lily struggled to keep up in her classes. The techniques were new to her. The instructors, renowned artists themselves, intimidated her. Their critiques, though meant to be constructive, often left her feeling lost and inadequate. She started to doubt herself, her talent. One day, overwhelmed and disheartened, Lily decided to leave. She packed her meager belongings. As she stood in the doorway of her small dorm room, ready to slip away unnoticed, Mr. Jasper found her. He saw the sadness in her eyes, the way she seemed to have shrunk into herself.